Good afternoon, Saskatoon, and hello to my fellow geeks at Collector's Edge Comics and Games, and to our fellow anime and manga fans over at GambateCon. Thank you for joining us. And just while we give people some time to join, I'll just let you know how today's interview is going to work. I am going to introduce a series of questions to our guest here, and once it's time, I will invite viewer questions. Don't be shy to type in viewer questions as we're watching. And just somebody from the Gambate team, I'm not sure that I can see the comment feed from your page. So if somebody could copy and paste them over, that would be wonderful. And copy and paste them over to the Collector's Edge Comics and Games video, all right, so without further ado, we are joined all the way from London, England by Shao Dow. So Shao Dow is a rapper, a manga author, and occasional ninja. Shao Dow, for the uninitiated and for stuff that I may have missed in my introduction there, can you give us a brief introduction to both yourself and your work, please?
Hey there, Saskatoon, and thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate it. I am a professional rapper, manga author, occasional ninja. I lived in China when I was younger, trained in Shaolin Kung Fu. And since then, I've just tried to live my life as an anime character. I've been across the UK, across the world, promoting my music, entertaining, inspiring, educating sometimes. And yeah, I just love to create and do cool things for my fellow hip-hop listeners and my fellow nerds.
Fantastic, thank you so much. So I'm absolutely itching to get to the manga stuff as a comic book writer myself. But first and foremost, you are a rapper, and I would love to cover that. So what I would like to do is introduce a music video from Shao Dow for The Way of Shao, which is the title track from his most recent album, which is also called The Way of Shao. Here we go.
Award-winning Shao, yeah? Yeah. Alright, cool. Let's kick it. Go. DIY gang. Ladies and gentlemen, Shinobi and Kunoichi. We're about to get into this. Welcome to the Way of Shao, aka Shao Dow. Now I want you to throw your hands up in the air like you're trying to make a spirit bomb. Let's go! Whoever told him they could stop him was trolling. Your brother's feeble if you're plotting and I'm plotting, you're coughing. You're not an equal above the steeples. God won't let me free fall. I guess I'm just a bird of prey. Call me an eagle. Leaving with the hustle, my muscles are so prepared to struggle till I've won, but these others are unscared. My music is a drug and there's some that's already shed. That's why I call it E, cause it equals an MC squared. Who wanna dare step into the lair of the brother bear? Cause I swear I will rip a tear, leaving nothing spare. Yeah, I'm feeling in control like a battery. Original, you never find my soul in a factory. Actually, naturally, you can't match me. I sleep on the track. If you're blind, I'm becoming a Nancy. I open locked doors, I'm a boss, not a lackey. I'm seeing what I saw and I did it exactly as envisioned. But mixing rhythm and lyricism with ambition. I keep it different, that's why they listen. Now I'm living, full-time musician. But still I'm digging for additions, cause winning and giving is hidden from vision. And still I've never phoned it in for the credit. I'm on a matter peeing on these bars, do you get it? But first say I had to teach you about wordplay. A dictionary up on Broadway, that's a wordplay. Now there's a brand new page in my story. I'm showing you the path I take to find glory. The way of Shao, the way of Shao, the way of Shao, the way of Shao. The pleasure, the pain, the pressure, the games, the treasure, the strains. Yeah, I'm back again. The way of Shao. The way of Shao, the way of Shao, the way of Shao. When I was young, I tried to run before I knew how to stand up. Learned to walk before I crawled. Understand I'm not standard. Forward, not backward. If some babies don't cut, and a honey is the only time I think about a buck. I'm legendary, and that's me being modest. honest. If I tell you I'm the truth, then I'm just being honest. I'm a guy following the vibe, trying to find freedom. Labels can't thread because I don't need them. Meaning I'm competing behind your scenes, so a deal ain't me, bro. Give me your casino. Success in my glass and that thirst can't quench. I wanna make money, so I taught myself French. Maintenant, je peux parler le français. Toute la femme aime faire le danser. Je ne peux pas cesser, je ne peux pas m'arrêter. Ne bow to the show and then call me sensei. Now it's a brand new page of my story. I'm showing you the path that takes to find glory. The way of Shao, the way of Shao, the way of Shao, the way of Shao. The pleasure, the pain, the pressure, the gains, the treasure, the strains. Yeah, I'm back again. The way of Shao, the way of Shao, the way of Shao. A life without risk ain't a life worth living. Throw me in the sea and we'll see who's swimming. Ambitious but I'm patient, I've been poor and I've been caking. I know the secret of happiness despite the situation. Loving life, but still I'm ducking Cupid like a bee. I'm on an adventure while brothers taking arrows to the knee. I make music, make money and I make girls scream. Travel the world to come through and eat chicken and ice cream. Now this a brand new page of my story. I'm showing you the path that takes to find glory. The way of Shao, the way of Shao, the way of Shao, the way of Shao. The pleasure, the pain, the pressure, the gains, the treasure, the strains. Yeah, I'm back again. The way of Shao, the way of Shao, the way of Shao, the way of Shao.
Let's go to the music video.
City bow to me, I spat before they grounded me. How is he killing an hour without a handout? Man down, slap them around because they doubted me. Shaolin, the founder when they hound me. It's all bar the bike, so they be howling. I stay hidden with tigers, they be crouching. These spitters are tickets, so let me fouling. I had to earn to be put, work to be heard. Verbally murder, reverse from the front line. What a worst, get the turn, learn what I'm worth.
Alright, so that was the music video for The Way of Shao, the title track from The Way of Shao, which is now available in Saskatoon. The first time it's been available in the entire province of Saskatchewan at Collector's Edge Comics and Games. So Shao Dow, what I really want to know is, I've followed your career now since we first met in 2010. And it's been a very positive career to follow. It's not just in your rap, that positivity, but it's also in who you are as a person. Can you tell us a bit more about why you chose to pursue that path with that positivity and that kind of spin on things?
Honestly, it's just me being me. I've always respected and enjoyed music that was honest and came from a place of experience, especially in regards to rappers. So for me to start rapping about selling drugs and doing XYZ on the streets is disingenuous of me, because it's not something I do. What I'm about is progress, self-improvement, positivity, of course, as well as just being a better version of yourself. And I think I represent all of that in my music, or at least I hope I do. So yeah, my music is just an accurate reflection of me, probably with a bit more kicking people in the face, but yeah.
And speaking of that, you're also a trained martial artist. I've seen from your Instagram you practicing kenjutsu and practicing with nunchucks, that kind of thing. And that plays a really big part in your music as well. Like with the recent album, The Way of Shao, you've got Katana Flow, and so you've got this big martial arts influence. How does that translate into your music?
Well, I mean, I think that just the discipline and hard-working aspect of martial arts is something that I've applied to my music as well as my general life. So that's always been a big part of everything that I do. And then I will make martial arts references, but more recently, I guess I make anime references and say random things in Japanese. So yeah, I think my music is literally just a mishmash of things I'm interested in. And if you like those kind of things, then it's very likely that you'll like my music.
Fantastic. And your albums have, in my opinion, have just gone from strength to strength. We had a really solid album in your first full-length album with Cut the Bull Spit, Kung Fu Hustler, that went another level beyond. But in my opinion, this recent album, The Way of Shao, is just absolute killer from start to finish.
Thank you so
One
much.
of those albums where there's no track that you can skip. It's just brilliant.
Well, that for me is what an album's about. You know, it's if the track could be skipped, it probably shouldn't be on the album. But, you know, funnily enough, we say recent album, but I think that I released that in 2017 or 2018. I haven't released an album since then. I've mainly been releasing singles and just shorter bodies of work. As I was saying to you earlier, I'm really keen to release an album at some point, but I want to make sure that I've got something to say in the album, you know, and I always see an album as a snapshot of where my life is at that time. And previous to that, I didn't feel that I'd done enough growing, enough living, etc., in order to say anything of worth. But yeah, I feel like I'm getting closer and closer to being album ready.
Fantastic. And something that really strikes me with your music is, unlike a lot of other rappers, you're really not scared about reaching into other genres. You've worked with a lot of different musicians. In the music video there, we heard both Kelly and we heard Ricky on guitar with that fantastic guitar lick that he provides. What is it that you look for when you choose to work with another musician?
Honestly, just dopeness. You know, if I like it, that's about all I ask for. I just like to hear a good vibe. I like to hear something that inspires me, that makes me want to write, that makes me want to say something. You know, as a rapper, a lot of people look at it and think, okay, well, you're just writing words down and just saying words that rhyme. And yeah, that's a big part of it. And it's certainly, in my opinion, not as technically, okay. So in comparison to what a singer does with melodies, harmonies, the ability to sing, you know, what a rapper does is pales in comparison. But then if you look at the lyricism that a rapper comes with, the way that they interpret different ideas and express themselves and say things in ways which really make you think, and the wordplay especially, I think that rappers are leagues above most other artists in their self-expression. So for me, I like to hear music that makes me want to say something dope in an incredible way, you know, where I've said it in one way and it's taken in one way, and then you think about it and you realize that I actually meant it in an entirely different way. I'm talking double entendres, triple entendres, that kind of thing.
Fantastic. And how much of a hand do you have in composition with those musicians that you work with?
It depends on the track. More recently, I've been getting into trying to learn production and mixing and mastering and that kind of thing, just because I find it super interesting. So, you know, if I feel that a track needs something else or needs an extra element, I'll liaise with the producer and we'll kind of work on it together. But more often than not, it's a case that somebody will send me a beat, I'll listen to it, I'll like it, I'll write to it, and then I will start structuring it, what they've done around what I've written. I've gotten a lot more into working on the structure of the beat after I've written the lyrics to it.
Fantastic. And yeah, I've seen you work with a range of musicians. And like I say, you're really not scared of other genres. I've heard everything from hardcore and metal right the way through to jazz. Just amazing stuff. So yeah, well done on that. It's always beautifully composed music. All right, so we've covered a little bit of your hip-hop career, your rap career. But what's really intriguing to me as a comic book writer is that you've also written a manga. The manga is absolutely fantastic, also called The Way of Shao, and it kind of incorporates everything you are. You've managed to incorporate your skill as a martial artist, your burgeoning rap career, and managed to forge a story out of it. Before we chat about that, I am just going to play the trailer for The Way of Shao, and then we'll be back.
Sure.
Award-winning Shao, yeah? Alright, cool. Let's go. Run up on the stage and a drop kick, man. Who told you I can't drop kick, man? Up, down, left, right, drop kick, man. To that, drop kick, man. Run up on the stage and a drop kick, man. Who told you I can't drop kick, man? Up, down, left, right, drop kick, man. I'm the best when I drop kick, man. Yeah, this ain't another move. This deliver shoe at my feet, best feet, test like a gotta do. It's all hype till I kick a dude, get a footprint in your face that is flipping rude. Yeah, no manners, and I work hard like I'm not a gold hanger. Raise a glass ceiling with a gold hammer. Shao don't play cause I am the programmer. Damn it, hit the stage, make a panic. Damn it's gonna blow like I'm on Namek. Planet, out then I go grab it. Do it my way cause they won't understand it. Always been a boss and occasionally a gallus. Sipping sake in a blazer with a chalice. Never been a number, following the masses. I made me for the wicked time, chilling in the ashes. Yeah, seen so much but I'm still so young. Laid the groundwork to my kingdom come. I win if they give no love cause the knockback's where I get the wisdom from. And I still talk funny, but I back dope so I make my money. I be fly cause I get more honey, so all my success can't take it from me. Run up on the stage and I drop kick man. Who told you I can't drop kick man? Up, down, left, right, drop kick man.
I like that at the moment.
Drop kick man.
Oh,
All right, so that was the trailer for the Way of Shao manga, which is available now. Signed copies, again, for the first time they've been available in the entire province of Saskatchewan from Saskatoon's Collector's Edge Comics and Games. So Shao, can you give us the elevator pitch for the manga?
yeah, I feel like I've said it so many times, it's ingrained into my mind. So the Way of Shao manga is set in a world where musicians have special powers and abilities that grow as their fan base increases. And that's literally the premise, but it goes a lot deeper than that, with artists able to challenge each other on stage via rap battles, and by channeling their energy known as the vibe through a microphone, they can manifest different weapons and ideas and things like that, and each artist has a different way of fighting in a rap battle. So but fundamentally the story is about this character Shao Dow, who is me but isn't me, his journey through the music industry, and how difficult it is to build a life doing something that you love, and you know, showing behind the scenes of building an independent music career rather than just the highlights.
Fantastic, thank you so much. And it's really beautiful artwork in this manga. Who did you work with as the artist?
That's my main illustrator, Tonio Maicon. He's based out in the Philippines. I've known him for a very long time now, about 3-4 years, and he's so excellent. He does a lot of the artwork for my single releases as well. And in fact, he drew the artwork for the Way of Shao album as well. So yeah, he's an excellent artist, and we've been working together for a long time. I'm doing some work on volume 2 of the manga at the moment, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he comes up with for that.
Fantastic. And as I mentioned here in the interview earlier on, I'm also a writer for the comic book medium myself. I've written a couple of graphic novels. So there's these two competing worlds in writing for comics. You've got the Marvel way, which is where the writer just says, I want this to happen over a series of pages. Come back to me with the artwork. We'll figure out what the words are going to be. And then there's the Alan Moore full script way, where there is a very, very detailed, broken down by page and by panel, descriptive script. What method did you use with Tonio?
Definitely the script method, and I actually didn't know the names of them, so that's super interesting. But yeah, I can almost see how these scenes play out in my mind, so then I just sit down and write it in as much detail as possible, and Tonio translates that into images. And a lot of, you know, I'll be as detailed as what the character's facial expressions are looking like, what they might be doing with their hands or how they're standing, if it's relevant, that kind of thing, because I read a lot of manga, and I think it's so important for the readers to be able to follow along with the story without it being overly explained. The artwork should do a lot of the storytelling for you. So if the next panel, they're across the other side of the room with something in their hand, and there's no explanation how that happened, or there's no linking panel, for me, that's a problem. So I'm always really descriptive in terms of where everybody is, what they're doing at any point in time, so that the reader can follow it without getting confused.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's the show me, don't tell me method of the visual medium, and that's fantastic. So this is really unique. Manga from a rap artist. What was it that made you choose the manga medium?
I mean, this goes back to my initial starting point with my journey, which actually started with Dragon Ball Z. I went to America to visit family, and whilst there, I think I was about 12 or 13, and Dragon Ball Z came on the TV, and we never had anything like that in the UK before. So I was obsessed with it, and my brother and I would spend the summer holidays trying to fight each other in true DBZ style and trying to fight Kamehamehas at each other. And I absolutely loved it. And that was my first foray into the world of anime, except I didn't know what anime was at the time. Then fast forward to me discovering Pokemon and all other sorts of mediums like that. Toonami finally came over to the UK, and I got into that, started watching a lot of Kung Fu films. And I decided I wanted to start learning Kung Fu because in my mind, this is what they did in Dragon Ball Z. And if I learned Kung Fu, I'd be able to do a Kamehameha. So I started learning Kung Fu, then decided I wanted to go to the source of Kung Fu and learn it in China. So I did that. Whilst I was in China, I started to write lyrics and realized I was good at it and thought, you know what, I really like rapping. So pursued that, I guess, hobby until it became something that I decided needed to be a career. So became a rapper, incorporated the martial arts and et cetera, and then last year I ended up working on a cartoon show, a theme song for a cartoon show, which starred the voice actor for Goku, Sean Schemmel. So I got to chat to him a little bit, and it was just really cool to think that that journey has started with Dragon Ball Z, and it can end with Dragon Ball Z, but it's come back to Dragon Ball Z, you know. But along the way, it was always the case that I wanted to tell a version of my story, and doing it in manga form was always a no-brainer for me because it's the medium that I love and have studied for a very long time.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and it like I say, it truly is a beautiful manga, really well put together product. And I guess what I want to cover next is you are a self-published creator, both with the manga and with your music career, but you've been incredibly successful with it. What is the secret for musicians, for comic book writers, manga writers who are looking to break into their respective industries today?
I like to call it the 3 Ps. So persistence, perseverance, and politeness. If you can do those 3 things, and then of course make excellent music, you're already head and shoulders above the rest. It's consistency is also really important, but more than anything else, it's just about not giving up. I guess consistency fits in with persistence, to be honest. But yeah, it is often a war of attrition with these sorts of things. If you make some cool stuff and you gain a few fans, and then you make some more cool stuff and gain some more fans, and then you keep doing it, you rinse and repeat. It may take years, but it will get to a point where you've got a fan base and you've got a lot of people who really enjoy what you do. It's just a case of whether or not you can continue sustaining yourself and continue onwards with progression whilst you're still trying to build that fan base and still trying to make a name for yourself. So yeah, it's very tough, and it's not something I'd recommend for just anybody. But if you really do love it, then you keep working for it and you don't give up, is what I believe.
Fantastic. That's some awesome advice right there. So I happen to know that you are an incredibly well-educated man. You have a law degree, and one of the songs, I can't remember the title of the track, but on The Way of Shao, there's a song where you talk about choosing to be a rapper rather than being a lawyer. When did that moment come? Katana Flow, yeah, that's the one. Thank you. When did that moment come where you knew that you absolutely had to be a rapper and not a lawyer?
When I completed my degree and I realized that I needed to get a real person job. The thought of working for somebody else and following along a set pathway and doing what everybody else did kind of made me feel sick to my stomach. And I realized that what I did musically was what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, ideally. So yeah, it was at that crossroads where it was either become a rapper or become a lawyer, and I chose rapper, and I haven't regretted it.
Fantastic. And we're glad you haven't regretted it and gone the other route, because amazing music, amazing manga. So, and speaking about your leaps and bounds in your career in rap, you've recently recorded a single with Tech Nine. What was that like?
Incredible. See, I sleep at really odd times, and a couple weeks back, I'd been going to bed quite regularly around 3 a.m. in the morning. And the one time I went to bed at a sensible time, I missed a call. Woke up in the morning and realized Tech had called me, and Tech being one of my favorite rappers ever. And to preface that, I've opened for him previously when he's come to the UK and we've hung out and stuff like that. He's a really great guy. And they often say, don't meet your heroes, but I'm really, really glad I met one of mine, because he's a really, really good guy. So we exchanged numbers then, and I'd been texting him occasionally, and he'd mentioned that, he'd like to get me on the track at some point. I was like, yeah, okay. Because I hear this a lot. People say stuff, but until I see it, I don't believe it. So, I kind of forgot about it. Then woke up in the morning and realized I'd missed a call from him. He left a voicemail. He was like, yeah, I've got a track. I've got an instrumental. I really think that you'd suit on it. I'd love you to do the chorus for it. Hit me back. So, after having a mini freak out, I hit him back. He sent it over to me, and I wrote the chorus. And I think I wrote it the evening that he sent it to me, and he loved it. And the track's called Kick It Up. It's out right now. It's a fantastic track. I was meant to fly over to Kansas City to film the music video with him, but I couldn't get into the country at the time because America is restricting UK visitors, unfortunately. So we had to improvise a little bit in terms of my involvement in the video, but I love the track. It's excellent. It's Tech on form as usual. And it's just really cool to have been involved with it, being such a big fan of what he does, and just getting to work with some of my heroes, such as Tech, such as Sean Schemmel. It really makes me feel like I've done something with my music career, like I've actually gotten somewhere.
That's fantastic. So we have a viewer question, and this is from Elaine. So this is talking about the manga. She says that it looks awesome and she'll absolutely be picking it up. But she goes on to ask, other than Dragon Ball Z, what are some of your favorite mangas and anime series?
Oh, too many. I don't know if you could see my wall of anime behind me there, but we're talking One Piece, Hunter x Hunter, Haikyuu, Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, Death Note. Oh gosh, One Punch Man. I've already said Dragon Ball Z. I used to like Pokemon. I don't really like it so much anymore. Well, no, I just haven't really watched it. Jujutsu Kaisen as well. Really enjoying that one. That's definitely one of the newer ones that I've seen that I really loved. Mob Psycho as well is extremely good. Probably easier to ask people what I haven't watched at this point in terms of mainstream stuff. But yeah, I just love watching and reading anime and manga. It's a medium that I'm very passionate about. I incorporate a lot into my lyrics, and I work with a lot of nerdcore artists who rap about that sort of stuff. So I make it my business to stay abreast with a lot of the newer stuff.
Fantastic. So I first met you in 2010, and it was one of the strangest but most amazing ways I've met somebody. What happened is, so I used to live in a town called Haverhill in Suffolk, and the nearest major city is Cambridge. And one of my friends, who was a bass player in a band back in the day, but his name's Michael, he called me up that afternoon and said, hey, I bumped into a guy in the street. He's looking for somebody to shoot a music video for him. And I used to be a video director, and that's kind of what my degree is in. And he said he's looking for a director. I gave him your number. He might be in touch. And that same afternoon, I got this very polite, very well-spoken phone call from yourself. And then we were on this crazy journey from there to shoot this music video, which was shot in Oxford. And it was amazing. The music video, the intensity of the music. I'd never really been introduced to a proper track that had a proper combination of metal and rap. I've been introduced to stuff like Limp Bizkit before, which is not applicable, let's be honest. But this was like proper hardcore, proper metal, mixed with proper rap. And I arrived at Rotator, I believe it's called Rotator Studios. And
yeah,
and it was this breeze block building and this tiny studio room that we were in, and we crammed in 40 extras, and it was a really hot May day. And I remember the breeze block was sweating by the end of it. That was an amazing experience. And so from that day on, I've got to witness your career go on. And I've got nothing but praise for you, because honestly, what you've achieved and what you continue to achieve as an independent artist, it always just manages to, like I am now, manages to make me lose my words. So that was an amazing experience. I've really enjoyed watching your career grow. Saskatoon, I cannot recommend enough that you go and check out Shao Dow's album, The Way of Shao, and the manga, The Way of Shao, which again are available in Saskatoon at Collector's Edge Comics and Games. And again, the first time they've been available in the province of Saskatchewan. It doesn't look like we have any other viewer questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play us out with the music video that we shot on that day that I gave the anecdote for. And
nice.
That will be our way to say goodbye to everybody. But thank you, Shao Dow, for joining me. This has been an absolute privilege. And thank you to everybody who's watched. Here we go. So this is Are You Really Stupid by Shao Dow featuring Lean and Meet Me at Midnight.
Yeah. Yeah. Shao Dow, Lean, meet me at midnight. Are you stupid? If you are, meet me at midnight. We'll talk about it. Yo, I bring it down like Lego, then double up in the echo. Keep coming back like limbs on a gecko. Nevertheless, I pitch high falsetto. I tell the best to pit by magneto. Are you stupid? No excuses. You don't think when you're making movements, are you dead? When you speak, you lose sense. I'm too tense, when you will seek improvements. See the bloke coming down from the yoke, but it's joke to the note, and I won't, but he won't. You see a punk of a rope when he comes to the most, with the bones of a joke, and he's broke. So when you try, it's a bummer. Class filling out your mouth, bunkle a plumber. You can make movements from dumb to dumber, like trying to fight snow in the summer. Are you stupid? 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 Getting caught up in the hype. Are you stupid? Wandering the streets with a knife. Are you stupid? Now you're in a cell and you're the wife. Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Are you dumb? But it don't look days like you just got caught with a gun. Man, when street crime's on the incline, the feds will stop you just for the fun. Are you dim, thick, slow with a wits? Why would you roll a road in a whip that ain't got text and insurance and it's then straight for the red light? Are you slow? How many illegal movements equal on go, bro? You see Scarface Casino, so don't act foolish like you don't know. That's why I get intense. Which man don't use common sense, so you don't be doltish, them or dense, or just less than intelligent. Are you stupid? 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 Shutting up the ends with the draw. Are you stupid? Thought you stay ahead of the law. Are you stupid? At 5 a.m. they're kicking in your door. Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Now I'm on it, rock hardcore like onyx. Listen to my words, blood, learn like phonics. Turn me firm, make a burn man run it. Cause when you back down, it don't run like Sonic. I make a shift tectonic. Too many baby and never think they want it. Easier life, no work or leisure to be fresh and get better for the next, say clever. Stupid dudes get used to next seven. Cause they wanna prove they do, they get pressure. Move like those, never pet to hype. If you're picking up a knife, never get your life. All the potential, no motivation. Be a bad man, it's a one aspiration. Even if you don't have the best education, be born in a corner of Getting in a fight with your lover. One night stand with no rubber. 9 months later, oh brother. Oh, you stupid.